Kirk Frost's world has completely turned upside down, and now things just got even worse. After the explosive arrest that sent shockwaves through the love and hip-hop universe, it seems Kirk's battles are far from over. Just days after being taken into custody for allegedly attacking Rashida, disturbing reports have surfaced that Kirk's mental and physical health has collapsed behind bars. Sources close to the situation reveal he's barely eating, refusing to speak, and has even been placed on suicide watch following a terrifying late-night episode that left guards scrambling for help. And where's Rashida in all this? The woman he's accused of hurting is now reportedly devastated, torn between rage and heartbreak as she watches the father of her children spiral into a full-blown breakdown. Some fans say he's just playing the victim, while others claim this is the price of years of bottled-up guilt and unresolved trauma. But here's the real question. Is Kirk genuinely falling apart, or is this just another twisted chapter in his ongoing manipulation? Strap in, because what happens next will shake the Frost family to its core. The drama is far from over. In fact, it's just getting started. It had barely been 72 hours since Kirk Frost was taken into custody, but it already felt like the world had shifted for everyone involved. Fans were still reeling from the shocking footage of Kirk being dragged away by officers after allegedly assaulting Rashida during a private altercation that went public far too fast. The news had spread like wildfire, splashing across gossip blogs, headlines, and social media timelines. It wasn't just another love and hip-hop scandal. This felt darker, deeper, more real. But while the public dissected every frame of the viral clip, Kirk sat alone in a holding cell, disconnected from the outside world. No cameras, no producers, no followers, just four cold walls and the weight of his own thoughts pressing in like concrete. Guards initially assumed he was like any other celebrity caught in the system. Loud, demanding, maybe even dramatic. But Kirk was silent, hauntingly silent. No requests, no complaints, no tears, just silence. One officer even joked that it was like Kirk's soul had stepped out and left the body behind. What no one realized at the time was that Kirk's mental state was deteriorating rapidly. According to insiders, Kirk refused food and water during his first 24 hours. When asked simple questions, he either ignored them or responded with vague mumbles. During the second night, things took a stranger turn. Kirk was found sitting completely still in the corner of his cell, whispering what sounded like apologies to no one in particular. When a guard tried to engage, Kirk stared straight through him, eyes glassy, skin pale. It was clear something was breaking inside him. Meanwhile, Rashida was living a nightmare of her own. Though she hadn't spoken publicly about the incident, close sources confirmed that she was devastated. She hadn't been home since Kirk's arrest, choosing instead to stay with her cousin. Her phone had been on silent. Every few minutes, another message buzzed in from fans, family, castmates, even producers from the network. Everyone wanted to know, what now? Was she done with Kirk for good? Would she forgive him again? Would she show up in court? But Rashida wasn't ready to answer anything. Her heart was shattered. She kept replaying the moment over and over, the raised voice, the anger in Kirk's eyes, the way everything spiraled out of control. She thought they had been healing. She thought they were past all the cheating, the lying, the betrayals. But something inside Kirk had cracked, and she had been the one to suffer the impact. And now she didn't even know if he was okay. Friends urged her to speak up, to tell her side before the internet filled in the blanks. But Rashida stayed silent. Not out of fear, but confusion, hurt, exhaustion. She didn't want to play the reality TV game this time. This was her life, her marriage, her children's father, and no edit could capture the pain she was feeling. Back in custody, Kirk's condition had become a concern. The facility's medical team was called after Kirk collapsed during a routine head count. He had fainted, hitting his head on the concrete floor. Though he regained consciousness quickly, he couldn't stop shaking. He kept muttering Rashida's name, again and again, as if stuck in a loop. Medical staff recommended psychological observation. One report claimed Kirk was showing signs of acute stress disorder, his mind reacting to trauma in real time. They moved him to a quiet room, away from the other inmates. He didn't fight it. He didn't ask why. He simply went where they told him, like a broken machine with no will left to fight. Inside the medical wing, Kirk finally whispered a full sentence. "I didn't mean to hurt her." A nurse asked him who he was talking about. He replied, "Rashida. I lost control. I wasn't supposed to. I didn't mean to." His voice broke on the last word. Tears followed, deep, ugly sobs that echoed off the sterile walls of the room. The nurse sat beside him, unsure if she should comfort him or call in security. This wasn't the Kirk Frost the world knew. This was a man at his lowest, stripped of everything, including his mind. Rumors of Kirk's condition began to leak. One of the facility's employees anonymously contacted a gossip page and said, "He's not doing well, like, at all. This ain't a stunt. Dude's really losing it. He keeps saying he wants to see Rashida. Keeps crying. He's not acting. He's broken." The post went viral. Within hours, fans were debating whether Kirk deserved sympathy or condemnation. One side argued that abuse couldn't be excused, regardless of the mental toll. Others insisted that everyone deserves compassion, even in their darkest hour. Some even blamed the pressures of fame and reality TV for pushing Kirk over the edge. The fan base was divided. People who had once rooted for the couple were now unsure how to feel. But while the public debated, Rashida stayed silent until she saw the post. Someone had sent her a screenshot of Kirk's alleged breakdown. At first, she didn't want to believe it. She thought it was another publicity stunt or exaggeration. But something in her gut told her it was real, and that scared her even more. She found herself staring at a photo of Kirk holding their youngest son. It had been taken months ago during a family trip. He looked happy, peaceful, loving. She touched the screen with her fingertips and her throat tightened. She didn't want to visit him. She didn't want to forgive him. But she didn't want to bury him either. Late that night, she called the facility. When she finally got through to the medical wing, she asked if Kirk was okay. The voice on the other end paused, then said softly, "He's stable, but he's not well. He's been asking for you." Rashida felt her knees weaken. She sat down, gripping the phone like it was the only thing anchoring her to the ground. "Can I talk to him?" she asked. They told her they'd see if he was up for it. A few minutes passed. Then the line clicked again. "Rashida?" Kirk's voice was weak, shaky, almost unrecognizable. Rashida didn't answer right away. Her heart was pounding. "I'm sorry," Kirk whispered. "I know I messed up. I don't deserve anything. But I needed to hear your voice." Tears streamed down Rashida's face. She didn't know what to say. Part of her wanted to scream. Part of her wanted to hang up. But another part, that part missed him. "You scared me," she said softly. "You scared the kids. You scared yourself." Kirk sniffled on the other end. "I know. I hate myself for it." "What do you want from me?" she asked. "I don't know," he replied. "Just don't give up on me yet." The silence that followed was heavier than any argument they'd ever had. And that's where things began to change. The silence on the phone stretched endlessly, yet it said more than any words could. Rashida sat there, clutching the phone like it held the answers to 1,000 questions that had haunted her since Kirk's arrest. She could hear his shallow breathing, the quiet tremble in every exhale. This wasn't the man she had argued with. This wasn't the same Kirk who had raised his voice and slammed doors. This was someone else, someone scared, someone broken. "I don't know if I can ever trust you again," she finally said, her voice cracking. "I don't expect you to," Kirk whispered. "But please, just don't turn your back on me. Not now." After a long pause, Rashida simply said, "I need time." Then she ended the call. That night, she didn't sleep. Her mind was spinning with memories, regrets, and guilt. Had she missed the signs? Had Kirk been struggling mentally for longer than she realized? Was this outburst just the final explosion of years of suppressed pain? Or was it just another excuse for a man who couldn't control his temper? The next morning, the headlines took a new turn. Now it wasn't just about Kirk's arrest. It was about his mental collapse. A leaked audio clip from inside the facility, allegedly of Kirk crying and begging for Rasheeda, surfaced online. It was raw, emotional, and heartbreaking. Some fans were furious that such a private moment had been shared. Others used it as fuel, saying it proved Kirk was trying to manipulate public sympathy. One tweet read, "Don't fall for the tears. He hurt Rashida. Mental health ain't a get-out-of-jail-free card." Another said, "Man's clearly not okay. No one wins here. This is just sad all around." Producers from the show reached out to Rashida privately, hinting that a sit-down interview could clear the air and give her a platform to speak her truth. But Rashida wasn't interested in the spotlight. She was interested in peace, healing, in understanding how the man she had spent so many years with had spiraled so far out of control. Meanwhile, Kirk remained in the medical wing. Doctors had officially put him on suicide watch after a nurse found a disturbing note under his pillow. The note wasn't a typical farewell. It was a confused, rambling letter filled with self-blame and fragmented thoughts. Lines like, "I failed as a man," and "the world's better without me," sent immediate alarms through the staff. His mother, Shirley, was contacted. When she heard the news, she broke down over the phone. "He was always the strong one," she sobbed, "always kept everything inside. I never thought it would come to this." She requested permission to visit him, and after some back and forth, the facility allowed it under supervision. When Shirley walked into that cold, sterile room, her heart shattered. Kirk looked nothing like the son she remembered. His skin was pale, his eyes sunken, his hands shaking. When he saw her, tears immediately welled up. "Mama," he said, barely audible. She rushed to him, holding his face in her hands. "Baby, what's happening to you?" Kirk broke down, sobbing into her arms. He told her everything, or at least, the pieces he could remember. How the pressure had been building for months. How he felt like he was constantly failing his family. How the fame, the cameras, the drama, it all felt like a never-ending trap. "I didn't mean to hurt Rasheeda," he cried. I was tired of everything." Shirley held him tight, whispering that they would get through this. But deep down, she wasn't sure. This wasn't just about an emotional breakdown. This was a man on the edge of something irreversible. While Kirk struggled inside, the outside world kept spinning. Paparazzi were now camped outside Rashida's boutique, hoping to catch her for a statement. Fans left flowers and handwritten notes at the entrance, some for her, some for Kirk. Social media turned into a battlefield of opinions, theories, and emotional outpourings. Then came the first unexpected twist. A former friend of Kirk's, someone who used to work closely with him on business deals, came forward with shocking claims. In a live stream, he said Kirk had been dealing with extreme financial stress behind the scenes. He claimed Kirk had made some bad investments, lost a significant amount of money, and had been hiding it from Rashida for months. He was drowning, the man said, and the worst part? He wouldn't let anybody help him. He just kept saying, "I'll fix it before she finds out." But he never did. This revelation lit up the internet like wildfire. Suddenly, the pieces started coming together. Fans began speculating that Kirk's breakdown wasn't just emotional, it was financial. The pressure of keeping secrets, the fear of disappointing Rashida, the shame of losing money, it had all built up until he snapped. Rashida saw the video too. She watched it in silence, her face blank. Inside, she felt like her chest was being crushed. How much didn't she know? How many times had Kirk smiled at her, pretended everything was okay, while hiding a storm behind his eyes? She remembered a night, just 2 weeks before the arrest. Kirk had come home late, looking exhausted. When she asked if he was okay, he brushed it off, said he was just tired from work. She had believed him. Now she wasn't so sure. The next day, Rashida did something no one expected. She went to the facility. It wasn't a publicized visit. She didn't tell the producers. She didn't alert her team. She just showed up, wearing a hoodie and sunglasses, trying to blend into the background. When Kirk saw her walk into the medical wing, his breath caught in his throat. "You came," he whispered. Rashida sat down across from him. They stare at each other for a long time, neither knowing what to say. Finally, she spoke. "I heard about the money. Is it true?" Kirk nodded slowly. "I was trying to fix it before you found out. I didn't want you to worry. So instead you lied. You attacked me. That was your solution?" "I wasn't thinking. I wasn't me." "Then who were you?" Kirk looked down. "Someone I don't want to be." Rashida's eyes filled with tears, but she held them back. "I'm not here to forgive you. I'm not even sure I believe in us anymore. But I needed to see for myself if you were really broken or just playing the victim." Kirk looked up at her, his eyes red. "I wish I was faking it, but I'm not." The silence returned, thick and suffocating. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was filled with unspoken truths, buried pain, and a flicker, just a flicker, of something that might still be worth saving. As Rashida stood to leave, Kirk reached out. "Just don't hate me," he said. She didn't respond, but she didn't pull away either. And that tiny moment left Kirk with something he hadn't felt in days: hope. Rashida walked out of that facility with heavy steps, as if every footfall carried the weight of 1,000 shattered dreams. The air outside was cold, but not colder than what she felt inside. She didn't know what to think anymore. All she knew was that Kirk was no longer the man she once stood beside on that reality TAF stage, smiling for the cameras, pretending everything was fine. That version of Kirk was gone, and what remained was a man unrecognizable to her. But the world wouldn't give her a break. As soon as she reached home, her phone exploded with missed calls and messages. Her cousin Tammy had gone on Instagram Live, blasting Kirk and questioning Rashida's silence. Why is my cousin still visiting that man? After everything he did to her, you don't hit someone and then cry mental health, she had said, eyes blazing with anger. I don't care what he's going through. My loyalty is to Rashida, not to some broken promises. The clip went viral within hours. Fans jumped in, some supporting Tammy, others saying she had no right to speak for Rashida. But the damage was done. The family was now divided again. And this time, it was playing out in front of millions. Rashida confronted Tammy over the phone that night. "Why would you go live with that?" she asked, her voice tight. "Because you're not saying anything," Tammy snapped. "And people need to know that he doesn't get to play victim. Not after what he did. You think I don't know that? You think I haven't cried every single night? But this is my life, Tammy, not yours, and definitely not the internet's." Tammy hung up. It was just another fracture in a family already full of cracks. And then came the next twist. The facility released a short official statement. Kirk Frost had been transferred to a private psychiatric treatment center after doctors declared his mental state fragile and unpredictable. Sources close to the case claimed Kirk had suffered a severe panic attack after Rashida's visit, one so intense he had to be sedated. A nurse leaked more troubling details. He kept repeating her name, she said. He was shaking, crying, saying he ruined everything. It was heartbreaking. Meanwhile, Rashida received a handwritten letter from Kirk. The words were shaky, smudged with tears. In it, Kirk confessed to more than just the money problems. He admitted that he'd been battling depression for nearly 2 years, but had kept it hidden out of pride. The constant filming, the business pressure, the guilt of past mistakes, it had all snowballed into something he could no longer control. "I thought if I just kept pushing, it would all go away," he wrote. "But instead, I pushed you away. And now I'm the one lost." Reading that letter shattered Rashida all over again. But she wasn't the only one watching this unfold. The producers of Love and Hip Hop were now in full panic mode. The Kirk and Rashida storyline was one of their most popular arcs, and this real-life drama was bigger than anything they had ever scripted. Behind the scenes, they were debating whether to intervene or let the situation play out. "This isn't just drama," one exec said during a conference call. "This is a mental health crisis. We can't exploit this." But another producer disagreed. "This is real and raw, and if Rashida agrees to speak, it could be healing for her. Maybe even for Kirk." They reached out again. This time, Rashida answered. She agreed to a private off-camera conversation. No crew, no lights, just her and one producer she trusted. During that talk, she broke down. For the first time, she admitted she didn't know what she wanted anymore. "Part of me wants to run, to just disappear and never deal with any of this again," she said. "But then there's this other part of me that still sees the man I married, buried under all this pain." The producer gently asked if she'd consider a one-on-one sit-down with Kirk once he was stable. "Not yet," she replied, "but maybe someday." While Rashida wrestled with that decision, Kirk's condition took another turn. He stopped eating, refused to speak to anyone, wouldn't even look at the doctors when they tried to ask questions. The psychiatrist called it a full shutdown. "His body is here," she explained, "but his mind has checked out." They placed him under round-the-clock supervision. His mother visited again, pleading with him to fight. "You can't give up now, Kirk," she cried. "You've made mistakes, sure, but you're still breathing. And as long as you're breathing, you have a chance to fix this." But Kirk just stared at the wall, unmoving. Word of his decline spread fast. And then something unexpected happened. His son Kai, who had been silent throughout the whole scandal, posted a cryptic message on his Instagram story. It read, "We all break differently. Don't judge the pieces if you never saw the cracks." Fans immediately speculated that Kai was defending his father. The post was reshared thousands of times, sparking debates about generational trauma, father-son relationships, and the pressures of growing up in the public eye. Some fans praised Kai for speaking out. Others accused him of enabling Kirk's behavior. Rashida saw the post too, and for the first time in days, she felt something shift. Because no matter how much pain Kirk had caused, he was still a father, still a son, still a human being trying to hold on. The next morning, she made a quiet decision. She would return to the facility, not for Kirk, but for herself. She needed closure. And maybe, just maybe, she needed to see if the man who had once been her partner, her ride or die, still existed somewhere inside the broken shell, now lying in that hospital bed. When she arrived, Kirk was sleeping. His face looked peaceful for once, almost innocent. She sat beside him, watching him breathe. And then she whispered, barely audible, "Don't you dare give up on me." The days that followed were a blur for Rashida. Kirk's condition worsened with each passing hour. He remained unresponsive, as if the weight of everything, the arrests, the public scrutiny, the family fractures, had sucked the life out of him. The doctors said he was in a catatonic state. "It's like he's given up," one nurse explained to Rashida. Sometimes, people in his condition can't handle the weight of their own guilt. That hit Rashida like a punch to the gut. She had always known Kirk to be strong, always the one holding it together for their family. But now the roles had reversed. She was the one trying to keep everything from falling apart, while Kirk lay there, a shell of the man he used to be. It was then that something unexpected happened. Rashida's sister, Monica, called her, her voice tight with emotion. "You're not going to believe this, but I think Kirk might be getting help from someone you wouldn't expect." "Who?" Rashida asked, her curiosity piqued. "His ex-wife." Rashida felt her stomach twist. "What do you mean, his ex-wife?" Monica hesitated for a moment, then explained. Kirk's ex-wife, who had always been a source of tension between the couple, had apparently reached out to him. She had been sending letters and offering support in a way no one could have anticipated. "She says she wants to help him find peace, Rashida," Monica continued. "She's been through some of the same struggles he's dealing with, and maybe she can help him get out of this spiral." Rashida's mind raced. This was the last person she had expected to hear about. Kirk's ex-wife had always been a shadow hanging over their relationship. There had been whispers over the years about unresolved issues, and many times, Kirk had spoken about how their marriage had ended in a whirlwind of drama. To think that she was now trying to intervene was almost too much for Rashida to process. "You have to be kidding me," Rashida muttered. "After everything they went through, she wants to help him?" Monica's voice softened. "I know it's crazy, but maybe this is what he needs, Rashida. Sometimes the most unexpected people can provide the healing that others can't." Rashida didn't know what to think. She was torn between feeling betrayed by Kirk's ex-wife's sudden involvement and feeling a strange sense of hope. If Kirk could find peace, maybe, just maybe, he could be the man she had once fallen in love with again. As if things weren't complicated enough, a new drama was brewing on the other side. Kirk's mother, who had been one of the few people supporting him during his mental health struggles, had made a shocking move. She contacted the media. Rashida was blindsided when she received a call from a reporter asking for a statement about Kirk's ongoing condition. "We just got word from Kirk's mom that she's planning to sue the network," the reporter explained. Apparently, she believes the pressure of filming and public scrutiny has pushed Kirk to this breaking point. "What?" Rashida gasped, almost dropping her phone. "She's suing the network." "That's right. She says the producers forced him to keep up appearances, even when his mental state was deteriorating. She claims the network is partly responsible for what happened to him." Rashida couldn't believe her ears. The drama between her, Kirk, and the rest of the family had already been more than enough to handle. Now to add a lawsuit on top of everything. It felt like the world was spinning out of control. But there was more. The media storm surrounding Kirk's health and the allegations from his mother only intensified. Tabloids printed exclusive details about his breakdown, each one more exaggerated than the last. Kirk Frost's mental breakdown. Did reality TV destroy him? One headline screamed, "Family war erupts as Kirk's past catches up with him." Another one read, "The public wasn't just speculating about Kirk's health, they were dissecting every single detail of his life." Kirk and Rashida's entire relationship, their marriage, their struggles, everything was now under a microscope. In the midst of this chaos, Rashida received a call from one of her closest friends, Tasha. "Are you okay?" Tasha asked, her voice filled with concern. "This whole thing is spiraling out of control, girl. Kirk's ex, his mom, the lawsuit. It's like the whole world is against you." "I don't know what to do anymore," Rashida admitted, her voice breaking. "I keep hoping Kirk will come back to me, but I don't know if I can keep living like this." "You don't have to," Tasha said gently. "You've been through so much, and it's okay if you need a break. You've got to put yourself first now." But Rashida didn't know how to put herself first. She had spent so long putting Kirk and their family first, always trying to fix things, always trying to make it work. Now, with everything falling apart, she had to face the reality that maybe some things couldn't be fixed. The next few days were a blur of phone calls, meetings with lawyers, and endless media coverage. Kirk's health was at the forefront of everything: his mental state, the treatment he was receiving, and the toll it was taking on his family. Rashida spent hours at the hospital, watching Kirk in his comatose state, feeling helpless and torn. She didn't know if she was helping him or enabling him to stay stuck in this cycle of self-destruction. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more chaotic, a surprise visit from Kirk's ex-wife threw everything into even more disarray. The tension in the hospital room was palpable. Rashida sat by Kirk's side, her hands tightly gripping his, her mind racing with conflicting emotions. She didn't know how much longer she could keep doing this. Every day was a battle, not just with Kirk's health, but with the media, with the public's prying eyes, and with her own heart. And then, just when she thought she couldn't take any more surprises, the door to Kirk's room swung open. "Rashida?" A familiar voice called softly. Rashida looked up, startled, her heart skipping a beat. Standing in the doorway was Kirk's ex-wife, Tanisha, the last person she had expected, or wanted, to see. Tanisha's presence in Kirk's life had always been a source of strain between her and Kirk. They had fought about it more times than she could count. But now here she was, standing in front of Rashida with an unreadable expression on her face. "What are you doing here?" Rashida asked, her voice cold and guarded. She tried to keep the bitterness from seeping into her tone, but it was impossible. Tanisha stepped into the room cautiously, her eyes flicking nervously between Kirk and Rashida. "I heard about Kirk's condition," she said quietly. "I know we haven't always gotten along, but I want to help." "Help?" Rashida repeated, her voice rising in disbelief. "After everything you put him through, Now you want to help. Why? Because it's convenient for you? Tanisha flinched at the harsh words, but she didn't back down. No, Rashida. I want to help because I know what it's like to feel like you've lost everything. Kirk has always been so stubborn, so proud. But I know him. I know what he's going through right now. And I think I can get through to him in a way no one else can. Rashida stood up abruptly, her eyes blazing with anger. And what? You think you're going to swoop in and play the hero? Kirk is my husband. I've been by his side through everything. You don't get to come in here and act like you're the one who can fix him. Tanisha took a deep breath, her own emotions clearly on the surface. I'm not here to fix him, Rashida. I'm here because I know he needs something more than just your love right now. He needs someone who understands his pain, someone who has been there. Rashida felt the words hit her like a slap. She had spent so much time trying to fix everything, trying to be everything Kirk needed, that she hadn't stopped to think about what he truly needed in this moment. So what do you want from me? Rashida asked, her voice barely above a whisper. You want me to just step aside and let you do whatever you want? Tanisha shook her head slowly. No, I don't want you to step aside. I just want you to understand that sometimes we can't save the people we love the way we think we can. Sometimes they need something more. The silence in the room was thick, both women standing on opposite sides of the hospital bed, each one fighting for Kirk's attention in their own way. It was a battle of wills, but neither woman was willing to back down. After what felt like an eternity, Rashida finally spoke, her voice shaky but determined. Fine, you can help. But I'm not letting go of Kirk. He's my family, and I'm not giving up on him. Tanisha nodded, a flicker of relief crossing her face. I don't want you to give up on him. I just think we need to find a way to work together. Kirk needs us both. Rashida's heart was heavy as she looked at Kirk, lying unconscious in front of them. She had always believed that love was the answer, that her love for him could pull him through anything. But now she wasn't so sure. The situation had become too complicated, too messy. You're right, Rashida whispered, more to herself than to Tanisha. We need to work together. Just then, Kirk's eyes fluttered open. Both women froze, their breath catching in their throats. Kirk's gaze was unfocused, distant, as if he didn't fully recognize his surroundings. Kirk? Rashida said softly, her voice trembling. Baby, it's me. Do you hear me? Kirk's lips parted, but no words came out. He tried to lift his hand, but his body seemed too weak to respond. The doctor had warned that his body was shutting down due to the immense stress, but this moment felt different. It was as if Kirk was fighting for something, fighting for his life, for his family. He's going to be okay, Tanisha said quietly, though there was uncertainty in her voice. He just needs time. Rashida didn't answer. She couldn't. She just watched Kirk, her heart aching as she tried to make sense of everything that was happening. Was he really going to pull through? Or was this just another fleeting moment of hope before everything came crashing down again? The days that followed were filled with even more tension. Tanisha stayed at the hospital, visiting Kirk daily. Rashida, despite her reservations, agreed to let her ex-wife help in whatever way she could. But the strain between the two women was obvious. Each time Tanisha spoke to Kirk, Rashida felt a stab of jealousy and anger. It was hard to let go of the belief that she should be the one to fix Kirk, to be the one who could make it all better. But despite the underlying tension, there was one thing that became clear. Kirk needed both of them. The road to recovery was going to be long, and the emotional battles they had fought before would be nothing compared to the ones that lay ahead. The drama was far from over. Kirk's recovery would test everyone in ways they hadn't anticipated. And as the public continued to watch, the family would be forced to confront their deepest fears and unresolved conflicts. So, what do you think? Will Kirk be able to overcome his mental health struggles and return to the family he once had, or has this experience changed everything for good? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe that Rashida and Kirk's ex-wife can work together to help him recover, or is this just the beginning of more drama? We want to hear from you. Drop your opinions and predictions down below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping updates. Trust us, you won't want to miss what happens next in this ongoing saga. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next video.